what actually happened after 40 days? We are given clues. Clearly, this was the conclusion of a period of appearing and disappearing, a period of proximity and yet of not continuous availability, invisibility. There was something different already in the encounters before and after the resurrection, and now there's something different again. The spot at which this happened is indicated by an unbroken tradition where we still see the footprint of the Lord in the ground on the Mount of Olives. And we can pause there and, without wanting to know all, just intuit that there's something majestic before us. And the disciples looked up to heaven. One can still look up to heaven at that point. There's a hole in the little dome, and one sees the clouds that took the Lord out of sight. And then again angels, as in the resurrection. You men of Galilee, why do you stand there looking up to heaven? This same Jesus whom you have seen taken into heaven will come in the same way as you have seen him go up into heaven. And so from those clouds he will come again. He is the judge, and he is in authority. Sitting at the right hand of supreme authority is sitting in majesty, in majesty. He is the one who will judge, and so presumably he will be seen by all at his second coming. And then it is not those who scoff at him and at his preaching and at the issues of life and death, and indeed at his judgment, who will have the last word. Indeed, already the Lord is patient. He does not intervene every time he is scoffed at. He could do that, but he stands in awe of the gift of free will that he has created and given to us gratuitously, with that awesome responsibility that we bear for our own destiny. And so it is that we are allowed to make much noise. So it is that the media are allowed to make an awful lot of noise against God, against the means of salvation, the church, spurred on by Luciferian powers, by strange angelic intellects who wish us harm and therefore try to get us away from what leads us to grace, the church and its means of salvation. Therefore, this is allowed to happen, and people do not realize that when they collude, they are part of the noise in this side of eternity. But then this silence comes. It comes overnight. At the last breath, no more noise comes. There is silence in the grave. But we do not hear the unheard of the soul on its journey after that. But our faith tells us that that soul has to face the Alpha and the Omega. And Omega means the last letter, and indeed the last word is his, not that of the noisy television, not that of even noisy Parliament who can vote God out of the scene. God is unchanged. We did not exist at one point in time. We did not exist for a long time. He existed alone in his glorious bliss in Trinitarian fellowship. He was God, three persons, and we were in a mess, abusing already the gift of free will from our creation onwards, and doing so ever since. And so it is that we have the incarnation and we have the redemption to put it right, and we are still mocking God. We want to be God, the fundamental sin of Adam. That is a participation precisely in the fundamental sin of Lucifer himself, to which St. Michael reacted. Who is like God? Well, God is patient. And so our sin will catch up with us. And at that point, we will not be able to make an awful lot of noise. Christ sits in majesty, and his word will abide. We have the testimony of those who have come back from the beyond, recalled by modern means after clinical death, and they often have stories of having seen their life, of having seen all their life. Indeed, the soul itself, to some extent, is its own judge, because it sees quite clearly the state that it's in, and the consequences then of going towards the light in that state. We cannot escape our reality. So even though God is quiet and patient while we make much noise, the story is yet to unfold after one last breath, which opens all forever and ever and ever.
O post me, o per me, o ad me. An exclamation of Adam Scott, a medieval abbot, as he reflected on the power of Christ. Lines written in student days in Rome on Ascension Day. O Christ, alive and well, O Christ of fire, here standing in the sun, O Son of Man, of essence, God of God. To Godhead higher rise into clouds that hide thee, mid light wan from looking at thy shining. Gaze upon the ball that thou didst tread, and shalt recall to order at the ordering whereon the all shall be what can alone be all. Thy toy, O King, that with a finger's power thou didst bid be, and happily combine in cause and cause entwined at perfect hour, in calcule of time's dawn, born once to shine. O Lamb, once slain, now standing, stand in might upon a cosmos dreamt upon a night. O Lamb, once slain, now standing